Henry Ford was right. He said, if you think you can, you can. And if you think you can't, you're right. Hello and welcome to another edition of Chai with Pai, our weekly series of videos where we try and share simple stories and lessons that can help each of us become as good as we can be. Have you heard of a man called Hasil Adkins? Probably haven't. Hasil was a musician and he played rock and country music, never won a Grammy, but he was a pretty good musician in his own right. And you know what was special about Hasil Adkins? He was a one-man band. So not only did Hasil sing all his songs, but he also played the guitar and he played the drums and he had a harmonica slung around his neck which he would play, and he would then suddenly get onto the keyboards and play the piano. So he played every instrument in that song. So if you heard a Hasil Adkins number, you could be sure that the voice was his, as was all the accompaniment. What a guy. Now, most of us would struggle to play even one instrument. And imagine Hasil Adkins played everything there was and sung pretty well too. How did that happen? Interesting story. As a little kid growing up in West Virginia, Hasil was one of 10 kids in a not so well-to-do family. And childhood was spent kicking cans on the street or then sitting and listening to the radio. And Hasil had an ear for music and really loved that music. So he'd spend many hours dreaming of becoming a musician and of course listening to all those songs that the radio played. And one day he heard this lovely song, and when the song was done, the radio jockey announced, and that was Hank Williams. Little Hasil thought, wow, so Hank Williams not only sung that song but also played all those instruments? That's what that little kid thought. And he said to himself, if I want to be successful, if I want to be a musician someday and be on the radio, I must also learn to not just sing but also play all those instruments. And that's how Hasil Adkins came to play all those instruments and went on to become a famous musician. Think about it. A mistaken belief changed his life. But that's the power of belief. We all need to believe. And I sometimes think there's such a powerful message from Hasil Adkins for all of us. We all grow up with our beliefs and we believe in our limitations. We believe in our weaknesses. Maybe it's time to change and try and tell ourselves that, hey, I can. I've often thought that, some of us would probably say, math, oh, I hate it. At the sight of numbers and equations and algebra just scares me, right? And what do? If you want to get that kid to learn maths, it's not about sending her to tuition or to sending her to more advanced classes to get better at maths. I think it all starts with changing that belief. As a person who works as a coach with a lot of young leaders, I've often found that the challenge is not so much to tell people how to do something. The challenge really is to get people to change their beliefs. Once that belief changes, the rest becomes so much easier. So maybe it's time for all of us to try and think of our dreams. What would you like to do? What would you like to be? And before you start embarking on that journey, maybe a good idea to first start by turning that switch in your head and start to believe that it's possible. Believe that you can be successful. Believe that you could be the best. Once you start believing, the rest becomes so much simpler. Like I said, Henry Ford was right. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you're right. That's all in this week's Chai with Pai. And if you like this, do remember to share this video with other friends. And of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. That means a lot. Until next time, enjoy your chai.